Have you ever felt like, even though you have everything around you, something is still missing? This emptiness isn't something to ignore or try to fill with temporary distractions. It's a sign from your soul asking you to transform, to change direction. Without understanding this and taking charge of the change, you'll continue stuck in cycles that seem to lead nowhere. This video will help you understand what's truly behind this emptiness, a feeling of being lost or disconnected. We'll explore how many of us, at different points in life, face this silent call, and by ignoring it, we end up repeating the same mistakes. If you keep running on autopilot, you'll feel like you're going in circles, with no progress. But if you choose to listen to what your soul is telling you, you can break that cycle and finally experience real transformation. Have you ever wondered why, despite having everything, you still feel like something is missing? Stay with me until the end and discover how. By listening to this emptiness and taking action, you can find clarity, purpose, and above all, a true shift in direction in your life. Are you ready to take that step and stop feeling lost? Let's walk together on this journey of discovery and renewal. The emptiness you feel may not be easy to pinpoint. Sometimes it arises when we are so wrapped up in daily demands and the roles we play for others that we forget to reconnect with our true selves. This feeling of being disconnected from our essence may seem like an absence, but in reality, it's your soul calling out, asking you to stop and reflect on your life. For example, think of a woman who has a successful career, a loving family, and an active social life. On paper, she has everything. Yet deep down, she feels like something is missing. She spends her days rushing from one task to another and checking off items on her to-do list, but still ends the day feeling unfulfilled, as if there's no deeper meaning in her actions. This is the emptiness we're talking about, a subtle disconnect from our true selves. This emptiness can stem from several sources. One of the most common causes is the feeling of disconnection from yourself. We get so caught up in fulfilling responsibilities and meeting external expectations that we forget to check in with our own needs and desires. We lose sight of our true purpose, and in doing so, we inadvertently disconnect from the core of who we are. Let's take another example. Imagine a mother who always puts her children's needs ahead of her own. She loves them dearly, but in doing so, she's neglected her own dreams, hobbies, and well-being. She might tell herself that she's doing it for them, but over time, she begins to feel resentful and exhausted. She's disconnected from her own needs, and as a result, she feels empty inside. It's as if we're running on autopilot, going through the motions but never truly present in our own lives. We move from task to task, day after day, without asking ourselves, what do I really want? This can feel like a constant cycle of running without ever getting anywhere. Another cause of this emptiness is the overwhelming pressure to be perfect or to live up to societal standards. How often have you pushed yourself to achieve more, to be more, without ever truly taking a moment to breathe and appreciate where you are? This constant striving for perfection can leave us feeling exhausted, unfulfilled, and disconnected from our inner peace. It's like running a marathon without ever reaching the finish line. Take the example of a woman who works hard every day to meet the expectations of others, whether it's her boss, her friends, or her family. She's always doing more, achieving more, but when the day is over, she finds herself feeling empty. She's given so much of herself to others that she has nothing left to give herself. In addition, there's the fear of vulnerability and the reluctance to acknowledge our own pain. Many women find it difficult to admit that they're struggling or feeling lost, especially when the world expects them to have it all together. But ignoring the emptiness only causes it to grow stronger. When we push our feelings aside and avoid confronting what's really bothering us, the emptiness becomes a louder, more persistent call. It's your soul reaching out, begging you to pay attention. This feeling of being disconnected is not a sign of failure but a sign of potential transformation. When you listen closely, you'll realize that this emptiness is actually your soul's way of guiding you toward something more meaningful. It's asking you to slow down, reflect, and take action toward change. It's asking you to reconnect with yourself, with your true purpose, and with your inner peace. So, what can you do about it? The first step is to stop ignoring it. Acknowledge the emptiness and understand that it's an invitation for transformation. This is the moment when you have the power to shift your direction. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but embracing this emptiness and using it as a tool for self-discovery will set you on a path toward real healing and fulfillment. Now let's take a moment to reflect. Do you recognize this feeling of emptiness in your own life? How does it show up for you? If you're ready to break free from the cycle of disconnection, I invite you to comment below and share what's been keeping you stuck. Let's start this journey together, one step at a time. Have you ever felt like you're trapped in a cycle that you just can't escape? You know you want something different in your life, but every time you try, you end up right back where you started. This is the cycle of repetition, and it's one of the most common struggles many of us face when we feel lost or disconnected. For example, think about someone who has tried multiple times to make positive changes, whether it's with their health, career, or relationships. They might start off with great enthusiasm, make some progress, but then, just when things are starting to shift, they fall back into old habits. It's like being on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. You may feel frustrated, even defeated, because no matter how hard you try, the cycle keeps repeating itself. This cycle often happens because we haven't addressed the deeper root causes of our behaviors. For many people, the first step is recognizing that they are stuck in a pattern of repetition. It's easy to blame external factors like not having enough time, not having the right resources, or thinking it's just not the right moment. But often, the true reason for being stuck lies inside. It's about the beliefs, fears, and self-sabotaging habits that we've developed over time. Take, for example, someone who wants to lose weight. They might start a diet or exercise routine, but after a few weeks, they return to old patterns of overeating or skipping workouts. Why? Because deep down, they might not believe they deserve to be healthy, or they associate self-worth with something other than well-being. They might also fear that true change requires too much effort or will take away from other parts of their life. These internal blocks prevent them from breaking free from the cycle. The good news is, once we recognize these patterns, we have the power to change them. The first step is self-awareness. By looking honestly at our behaviors and questioning why we continue to repeat them, we can begin to understand the underlying beliefs that keep us stuck. The key is to challenge those beliefs and create new, empowering ones that support our growth. For example, a woman who feels unworthy of success may consciously decide to take action toward a promotion at work, but subconsciously, she might hold back because she fears failure or feels undeserving of recognition. Over time, this will reinforce her belief that she can't break out of the cycle, and she'll be stuck in the same pattern of underachievement. Breaking free from the cycle of repetition requires a shift in mindset. It's about changing how you think, how you feel, and how you respond to life's challenges. When you recognize the patterns and understand why they exist, you can begin to reprogram your mind. This shift won't happen overnight, but each small step toward change will bring you closer to the life you desire. So how do you start? The first step is to observe your thoughts and behaviors without judgment. Ask yourself, what patterns keep repeating in my life? What thoughts or beliefs are holding me back from moving forward? This is where the transformation begins. By recognizing the cycle, you can start to break it. Remember, breaking free from repetition isn't about making drastic changes all at once. It's about taking small, intentional steps toward the change you want to see. Let's take a moment to reflect. Can you identify any cycles of repetition in your own life? How have these patterns shown up for you? If you're ready to break free and start creating new habits, share your thoughts with me in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experience. Have you ever taken a moment to pause and really listen to what your soul is trying to tell you? Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools we have when it comes to reconnecting with ourselves and finding clarity. It's a process that allows us to step back from the noise of the world and tune into our own inner voice. But how often do we actually take the time to do this? In today's busy world, it's easy to get lost in the hustle. We fill our days with endless tasks, from work to family commitments to social obligations. We rarely slow down long enough to check in with ourselves. But this constant motion only adds to the emptiness we feel inside. We might find ourselves asking, why do I feel so disconnected? Why does something feel off, even though everything seems fine? For example, consider a woman who spends most of her time taking care of her family. She's always putting others first, but somewhere along the way, she lost touch with her own desires and dreams. One day, she feels overwhelmed and exhausted, wondering why she can't find joy in the things she once loved. The answer is simple. She's been neglecting her own needs and hasn't made time for self-reflection. Self-reflection isn't about criticizing ourselves or focusing on what's wrong. It's about creating space to understand who we truly are and what we truly want. It's about pausing long enough to acknowledge our emotions, our thoughts, and our desires. When we give ourselves permission to do this, we can uncover the root causes of the emptiness we feel. Think about how powerful it can be to simply ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why do I feel disconnected or unfulfilled? These questions open the door to understanding and healing. Without self-reflection, we are left to wander through life on autopilot, reacting to external circumstances without truly understanding why we feel the way we do. This process of reflection allows us to gain clarity and reconnect with our true selves. It's like dusting off a shelf that's been hidden in the back of a closet. Suddenly, you can see what's really there. Yes, and you can start to make sense of the things that were once clouded. Self-reflection can also help us identify the areas in our lives where we feel most disconnected. For example, if you're feeling disconnected from your career, it could be a sign that you've been neglecting your passion or purpose. If you're feeling disconnected from your relationships, it might be a sign that you've been putting the needs of others ahead of your own, leaving little room for connection and intimacy. The act of listening to your soul requires patience and a willingness to be vulnerable. It means setting aside your distractions and tuning into your inner world. When you do this, you create space for new insights and understanding. You allow yourself to be open to the possibility of transformation. So how can you start? Begin by setting aside time each day to reflect. It doesn't have to be a long session, just 5 to 10 minutes of quiet time to check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how do I feel? What is my soul trying to tell me? What changes do I need to make to reconnect with my true self? Remember, self-reflection is a practice. It's not something that happens overnight, but the more you make it a part of your routine, the more you'll begin to notice shifts in your life. It's the key to unlocking deeper levels of self-awareness and understanding. Have you ever felt like you've lost your sense of purpose? Like you're just going through the motions of life without truly feeling fulfilled? Finding and reconnecting with your purpose is one of the most transformative steps you can take to break free from the emptiness you may be feeling. Your purpose isn't just about your career or what you do in the world. It's about aligning with what truly matters to you at a deep level. It's about finding something that makes your soul come alive, something that brings you joy and a sense of fulfillment. When you're connected to your purpose, everything else falls into place, and you begin to feel a renewed sense of direction. But how do you reconnect with your purpose when it feels lost? It starts with a deep inner reflection, taking the time to ask yourself the big questions. What brings me joy? What do I feel passionate about? What are the things I care about the most? These aren't easy questions to answer, especially if you've been out of touch with your true self for a long time, but they are the key to unlocking your purpose. Let's look at an example. Imagine a woman who spent years focusing on her family and career, putting everyone else's needs first. Over time, she's pushed her own dreams and passions aside. One day, she starts to feel empty and wonders why she's not feeling fulfilled, even though she's done everything she's supposed to do. When she takes the time to reflect, she realizes she's been neglecting what she truly loves, such as writing, painting, or traveling. By reconnecting with those passions, she begins to feel a sense of purpose return to her life. Finding your purpose isn't always about doing something monumental or life-changing. Sometimes, it's simply about rediscovering the small things that make you feel truly alive. It might be a hobby you've forgotten about, a cause you care deeply for, or even a new interest that excites you. Reclaiming your purpose often requires courage, as it means stepping away from old habits and beliefs that have kept you stuck in a routine that no longer serves you. Take another example. A woman who's spent years caring for her family might realize she's lost touch with her own dreams of becoming a photographer. She might be afraid of starting something new at this stage in her life. But once she starts exploring photography again, she finds that it brings her a sense of joy and purpose that she had long forgotten. Her passion for photography reignites a sense of direction in her life, and she starts to feel fulfilled once more. To reconnect with your purpose, you need to prioritize yourself. This means carving out time for what makes you feel good, for the activities and pursuits that bring you joy. It's about honoring your own needs, desires, and dreams. You may have spent years ignoring your own purpose, but it's never too late to rediscover it. Reclaiming your purpose also means letting go of limiting beliefs that have kept you from pursuing what truly matters. It means trusting that you deserve to live a life that aligns with your deepest values, and it means taking small steps toward that purpose, one day at a time, with the confidence that you are on the right path. Have you ever felt like you're standing on the edge of change, but you can't seem to take that first step? It's easy to stay stuck in a pattern of thinking about change without ever actually making it happen. But change doesn't happen unless we take action. It's not enough to just recognize the need for change. You have to actively make the decision to take the first step towards something new. Change is often accompanied by fear, doubt, and uncertainty. We might worry about what could go wrong or question whether we're ready to make a shift in our lives. But the truth is, fear is often the biggest barrier to change. The longer we wait for the perfect moment to act, the more we remain stuck in our current situation. The key to breaking free is to act, even when we don't feel fully ready. For example, think of someone who wants to start their own business but has been hesitating for months or even years. They feel overwhelmed by the process, unsure if they have enough resources or experience to succeed. However, the longer they wait, the more they stay in the same place. They might tell themselves that they need more knowledge or that the time isn't right, but in reality, they are simply avoiding the discomfort that comes with taking action. The first step toward change doesn't have to be huge. In fact, it's often the small, consistent steps that lead to the most lasting transformation. If you're feeling stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill you, for instance, it could be as simple as taking time each day to research new career opportunities or talking to someone who is doing the work you aspire to do. These small actions will create momentum, and momentum is the key to breaking free from the cycle of indecision. Another key to breaking free is setting clear intentions. When you make the decision to change, get clear on what you want and why it matters to you. Without clarity, it's easy to get lost in the process or feel unsure about where to focus your energy. When you have a clear intention, you can begin to take small actions that align with that goal. Over time, these actions add up, leading you to the transformation you desire. Change is not a one-time event, but a process that takes time, effort, and persistence. The more action you take, the easier it becomes to embrace the discomfort and uncertainty that comes with stepping into the unknown. And the more you take action, the more you'll find yourself becoming the person who is capable of creating the change you desire. Sometimes, the most significant breakthroughs happen when we least expect them. For example, imagine someone who has been stuck in a dead-end job for years. After months of reflecting and taking small steps, one day they meet someone who offers them an exciting opportunity. This was a result of the momentum they built by taking those small steps toward change. The key is that they didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They took action, even when they weren't fully prepared. This led them to the right place at the right time. As you continue your journey toward breaking free, remember that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every small step you take toward your goal brings you closer to the life you want to live. Stay focused on your intentions, be patient with yourself, and keep moving forward no matter how small the steps may seem. You'll find that over time, those small actions add up to massive transformation. Fear is something that holds many of us back from making changes in our lives. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of the unknown, or fear of not being good enough, it's easy to let these fears control us. But what if you could face those fears and use them as stepping stones toward the life you desire? Overcoming fear is one of the most powerful ways to break free from the cycle of emptiness and stagnation. Fear is a natural emotion, and it's something that everyone experiences at different points in their lives. But fear is also something that can be managed. It's not something that has to control you or prevent you from taking action. The key is to understand that fear is not an enemy, but a signal. It's your body's way of telling you that you're about to step out of your comfort zone and into new territory. This is exactly where growth happens. For example, think about someone who is afraid to change careers. They might be in a job they don't love, but are too scared to leave because they're uncertain about what will come next. The fear of failure or the fear of not finding something better can paralyze them from taking action. But by staying in a job that doesn't fulfill them, they remain stuck in the same cycle of emptiness. The first step to overcoming fear is to acknowledge it. Instead of ignoring or pushing away your fear, take a moment to sit with it. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? Often, when we face our fears directly, we realize that they are not as big or as threatening as we once thought. Fear thrives on uncertainty, and the more you shine light on it, the less power it has over you. Another important step is to reframe your thoughts around fear. Instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, try to see it as an opportunity for growth. When you feel fear, it often means that you are about to do something new and exciting. It's a sign that you are stepping out of your comfort zone and into a space where transformation can occur. Let's take another example. Imagine someone who is afraid of starting their own business. They might worry about the financial risks, the possibility of failure, or the challenge of balancing everything. But when they start taking small, manageable steps toward their goal, the fear begins to lessen. With each action, they gain more confidence and more clarity. The fear that once seemed overwhelming becomes less significant as they begin to see the possibilities that lie ahead. Overcoming fear doesn't mean you won't feel it. It means you learn to work with it, to acknowledge it, and to take action despite it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to move forward in spite of it. One of the best ways to build courage is to start small. Take small steps toward the thing you fear. Each time you face your fear head-on, it becomes easier. As you continue to take action, fear loses its grip and you start to see the results of your bravery. Remember, fear is a part of life, but it doesn't have to control your actions. By embracing fear and using it as a catalyst for growth, you'll find the courage to take bold steps toward a more fulfilled and purposeful life. In the midst of our busy, fast-paced lives, finding inner peace can sometimes feel like an impossible task. Between work, family, and personal responsibilities, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and disconnected from the calm we long for. However, the path to inner peace is not something external. It's something we cultivate from within. Creating balance in our lives is essential for achieving a sense of peace. And it all starts with how we manage our thoughts, actions, and emotions. The first step to creating balance is acknowledging the areas in your life that feel out of sync. Do you feel overwhelmed by the demands of work? Are your relationships suffering because you're giving too much to others and not enough to yourself? Are you constantly feeling stressed or anxious, with little time to relax and recharge? When we feel imbalanced, it's often a sign that we're neglecting important aspects of our well-being, such as self-care, time for rest, and boundaries with others. For example, think of someone who works long hours, sacrifices personal time to meet the demands of their job, and never takes time for themselves. They may feel stressed, anxious, and disconnected from their own happiness. The result is an ongoing sense of imbalance that leads to burnout and frustration. To restore balance, this person must learn to prioritize their needs, set clear boundaries, and make time for self-care. Balance isn't about dividing your time perfectly between different areas of your life. It's about being mindful of where you're spending your energy and making intentional choices that support your well-being. It's about finding a rhythm that works for you, where you can give your best to others while still honoring your own needs. One way to begin creating balance is by setting boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining your peace of mind and preventing burnout. For example, setting limits on how much time you spend working after hours or saying no to social commitments that drain your energy can help protect your mental and emotional well-being. By saying no when necessary, you create space to say yes to what truly matters, like rest, relaxation, and personal growth. Another important step is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness allows you to be present in the moment, without judgment, and without being consumed by past regrets or future worries. When you cultivate mindfulness, you develop a greater sense of awareness and acceptance of where you are in your life. This can help reduce stress, anxiety, and the feeling of being overwhelmed as you learn to approach each moment with calmness and clarity. Creating balance also means acknowledging the need for rest. We live in a world that often glorifies busyness, but rest is essential for our mental and physical health. Make time for activities that recharge your energy, whether it's through hobbies, walks in nature, meditation, or simply relaxing with a good book. When we rest, we restore our inner peace, allowing us to approach our responsibilities with a clearer mind and a calmer heart. True inner peace comes from knowing when to slow down, when to say no, and when to prioritize your well-being. It's about creating space for the things that nurture you and bring you joy, while also finding the strength to let go of things that drain you. By making small adjustments to your routine and learning to honor your own needs, you can begin to restore balance and create the inner peace you've been searching for. Inner peace is not something you achieve overnight, but with consistent effort, you'll find that you can live with greater ease, clarity, and fulfillment. Now that we've explored the causes of emptiness, the cycles that keep us stuck, and the steps to reclaim our purpose, it's time to take action. The path to transformation begins with a single step, and that step starts with you. Transformation doesn't happen all at once, but through small, consistent changes. Each choice you make each action you take is a step closer to the life you desire. It's important to remember that transformation is not about being perfect. It's about progress. No one has all the answers, and there's no perfect way to make change. The key is to stay committed to the journey and to be patient with yourself as you grow. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to learn, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. For example, consider a woman who has spent years feeling lost and disconnected. She might have tried to make changes in the past, but never followed through. By taking small steps each day, whether it's setting boundaries, reflecting on her desires, or exploring new passions, she can begin to see shifts in her life. Slowly but surely, she starts to feel more connected to herself and more fulfilled in her day-to-day life. These small, intentional steps build momentum, and over time, that momentum becomes the catalyst for real change. The power of transformation lies in your hands. By acknowledging the emptiness, breaking the cycle of repetition, reconnecting with your true self, and taking action, you are already on the path to real change. Your soul's calling is the first sign that you're ready for transformation. And with each step you take, you are answering that call. Transformation often requires letting go of what no longer serves you. This might mean releasing old habits, unhelpful beliefs, or relationships that drain you. As you move forward, you begin to create space for the new, including new opportunities, new relationships, and a new way of living that aligns with your true desires and purpose. As you move forward, remember to be kind to yourself. Transformation can be messy and uncomfortable at times, but it's all part of the process. Embrace the journey, trust in your ability to create change, and celebrate each milestone along the way. Even the smallest victories are worth acknowledging because they represent growth. Know that this process is unique to you. No one else's journey is the same, and it's important to honor your own timing. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's okay. The key is to find what resonates with you and what feels right for your path. By trusting yourself and taking intentional action, you'll find that transformation comes from within. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment about your experience. I'd love to hear how these steps are helping you on your own journey toward transformation.